All right, what's up, everybody, and welcome back in. Now, listen, we just got another piece of inflation data that is going to have a massive impact here on the crypto market, and I wanted to break down exactly what it means for crypto and what we can begin to expect next. Now, as many of you know, there were two pieces of inflation data being released this week. The first one being producer inflation, which we got yesterday, which was really good. It came in much better than expected. And then the second one being consumer inflation, which just released about 2 or 3 minutes ago. And we're going to go through exactly what that consumer inflation report said, what it means for crypto going forward, and what I'm doing as a result of it. So we have a good bit to get into today. So let's not waste any more time and let's dive straight on in. So when it comes to consumer inflation from a year-on-year perspective, year to year, from last year to this year, what we can see is that we got exactly what analysts were expecting. Analysts were expecting a 2.9% increase. It came in at 2.9%. So exactly as analysts were expecting. Now, when it comes to month over month, it is a little bit different because analysts were expecting growth of 0.3%, but CPI, which is consumer inflation, came in at 0.4%. So a little bit higher, slightly higher than analysts were expecting, but didn't have a massive impact on the fact that, of course, we did see year over year equaling what analysts were expecting. And then core CPI, which is more of a stable version, which removes some of the more volatile things such as energy and things of that nature. It was expected to come in at 0.3%, and it came in at 0.3%. So for the most part, this was a head-on match. This is exactly what analysts were expecting. A bit of a small little caveat with the fact that CPI month over month came in a little bit higher than expected, but most people do pay attention to year over year, and the Fed has also mentioned that they do pay more attention to the yearly results because, of course, month over month over month, it is a little bit of a short-term metric, okay? And so all in all, this isn't a bad report by any means, but it surely isn't as great of a report as we got yesterday. And what does this mean for the crypto market? Well, I don't actually think this is going to have much of an impact on crypto. Okay, I think producer inflation came in way better. Like, we're talking dramatically better than people were expecting. Consumer inflation came in slightly worse than people were expecting. And I think when you combine those two things together, it's definitely not enough. Like, what we just saw from CPI is not enough to convince someone like, oh, well, because of CPI, now, the Fed surely can't cut rates. Like, there's no way. I don't really see that. I don't really envision that they have a plant right here, and it's so annoying. But I don't really see that that's going to be the way that plays out. I more think of it as people are going to maybe lose a little bit of the bullishness that they had, because I think some people were going to think, okay, well, if PPI came in really good, well, CPI must come in very, very good as well. And then that's going to guarantee that the Fed cuts rates by 50 BPS. And I think those people who kind of went on that crazy spiral yesterday of thinking that things were even better than expected, I think maybe those people will pull back a little bit. Maybe they'll close down some trades, and that could cause a bit of a negative impact on the crypto market in the short term. But truth be told, I don't think this is actually going to crash the market. I don't think this is anything but just a bit of a weird reading. But all in all, I think this is enough when you combine all the jobs data, combine the inflation data. I do personally think that this is enough for the Fed to cut rates next week, which is what the market has priced in. And that should allow us to be in an environment in which we either do stabilize, go up a little bit, or at least just not fall. I don't particularly see the market just absolutely nuking and absolutely crashing. And if it does, I don't think it'll last very long. I think it would be some more manipulative liquidity hunt. I don't think that the market will be in a position in which it just absolutely nuke, say Bitcoin goes to 80K or something like that, if the Fed starts cutting rates. I don't really foresee that happening, okay? And so because of that, if we do go look at the charts, I would assume they do agree with me, okay? So if we head over to Bitcoin's chart, yeah, you can see that little bitty ripple, right? So you can see that little bitty ripple from the market right here, and this could continue down a little bit more. Don't get me wrong, right? We could see Bitcoin maybe want to pull back. Maybe it comes back to 111 or 112 to start trying to shake out some people. Maybe the lizard people use this as an opportunity to try to freak people out. Now that there is a little bit of question, there is a little bit of mud in the water, a little bit, right? Because people are like, okay, like does this have any impact on the Fed's decision? And when there is a little bit of murkiness in the water, maybe the lizard people want to use that as an opportunity to go and maybe pull that market down and hit some of those liquidation levels to the downside. But all in all, I don't think that would again last very long. I do still think that Bitcoin is going to try to run back up to 120K, 119K at some point, and this could very well be the moment that it does it. Now, in addition to that, if we do go look at liquidation levels, for example, again, there are liquidations to the downside, especially on the 7-day and on the 1-day. Like Bitcoin going back to 109K could liquidate up to $7 billion worth, and that's really only a move like this. And in the grand scheme of things, I would say that's not an impossible move to make. It's not an impossible move at all. But truth be told, if you continue to zoom out to the more macro vision, you can see what it looks like, right? There are still billions and billions. We're talking $15 billion in liquidations if Bitcoin's price goes up towards $126,000. And so while there are liquidations up there, that means people are still betting that Bitcoin cannot go up. People are still betting that Bitcoin's going to crash, and more people are betting with more money that Bitcoin is going to crash than the people who are saying that Bitcoin is going to go up. And so knowing that there are so many people who are just so doubtful that Bitcoin can make that move up here, again, I just think that it's still a perfect formula and a perfect combination for Bitcoin to make that move, right? We've clearly seen Bitcoin break out of this descending structure. We've clearly started to see it create some sort of bullish structures towards the downside. And so even if it does give us a little bit of a pullback, a little bit like, one more liquidity hunt to go capture some of these more short-term long traders like these guys, right? Even if it does that, I'd be pretty confident that Bitcoin's going to try to make another run towards the upside. And again, maybe I'm wrong. I just don't think that I am. And so I'm going to kind of continue to play the game based on that thought process. And so my current thesis remains the same very much with Bitcoin. It's like, okay, my goal right now is I did a lot of dollar cost averaging as Bitcoin was down here, as it was at the bottom of this channel that it was in. And so for me, I am still kind of just holding on, just kind of playing the game a little bit. I don't particularly think that a long trade with the stop loss, say, set below like $107,000 is a bad idea if you're willing to take a risk like that, because I do think that there is more of a higher likelihood that Bitcoin tries to give us a bit of a run up here before going back to 100K, but it is still possible, right? Anything can happen, especially in this market, and there are still risks. So me personally, I'm not doing that, right? I'm not opening up any leverage long trades right now. I'm simply just going to let this bad boy cook. I want to see, can Bitcoin start to gain that traction, gain that momentum, and how does it respond to the FOMC, right? Because truth be told, we know the Fed's going to cut rates at this point. I mean, I think it's almost destiny. And so my thought process is there is always the possibility that the buy the rumor, sell the news events happens, right? In which we do kind of rally, and then we drop. Once they start cutting rates for a little while, then we recover, then we try to make a run once everybody gives up on crypto. That's a card that's always on the table. And so these are the sorts of things that I'm preparing for. I'm aware that there are many ways that this can go, and I have no idea how it's going to go. So I'm not going to try to guess. I'm not going to try to make leveraged bets that I know where it's going to go, knowing I don't know where it's going to go. I'd rather just hold my bag, sit back, watch, relax, get through FOMC over the next week, and then take it slow from there, and then make my move from there once the market gives me a clear directionality of what it wants to do. So all in all, when it comes to Bitcoin, for example, I don't think that today's data is going to change anything. I think we're going to continue to see a little bit of up and a little bit of down, but I don't think Bitcoin's going to do too much over the next coming days as we do get closer to FOMC. I think it'll primarily just continue to liquidate people in the short term. As we went into the month of September, I said, listen, there's going to be a lot of big, like these little boom, 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 like choppy stuff, right? And I was spot on with that. I mean, look at this. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. It's continuously just made these choppy moves, liquidating people in both directions. I think it's going to continue to do that probably over the next couple of days as we get closer to FOMC. And then going into Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, that's when things will probably start to pick up. So for now, my game plan is to sit back, watch, relax, not really make any big moves on Bitcoin. And the same thing goes for altcoins, right? Alts are kind of struggling to gain that momentum. They're trying to find their foundation. They're trying to make those move upwards. They're trying, ETH is trying to break 4,500, but it's struggling. Solana's price is trying to stay outside of this ascending triangle, but you can see its RSI is starting to flounder a little bit right now. XRP is trying to break above that resistance, but it's struggling. And so while so many altcoins are also just struggling to gain traction and momentum and break through these key levels of resistance, again, I'm just going to sit back and watch. So let's just see, do they break them or do they not break them? And then we can go from there. So all in all, it definitely would have been cool to see CPI data come in like way better than expected, but this is not something that is going to change the world. It's not something that's going to change everything in crypto. It's simply just something, in my opinion, that is going to continue to push the market in the same direction it was already going in. And I think yesterday's PPI data coming in so much better is still going to kind of outweigh this little blip right here, this little weird 0.4 when analysts are expecting 0.3. Okay, so that's kind of where I am with the market today. Guys, don't forget, I am going to go over, if you are looking for me to cover XRP, Solana, Sui, XLM, and all that, I am going to do a full analysis over on my Instagram in probably starting about 20 minutes or so from when this video drops. Go follow me on Instagram. It's The Life of Tyler Hill. You're going to see all of these pictures. And then if you head to the Reels tab, as you can see right here, check Reels tab for daily analysis. This is where I post all of my analysis and all of my videos, news, all that good stuff. Okay. So make sure to go follow me over there. And if that does interest you, you can go ahead and follow, as I mentioned before. Also, if you are trading any of these cryptos that I'm talking about, XRP, Solana, MYX, ADA, Crow, it doesn't matter. Head over to the link to BTCC. You are going to get up to $10,000 in bonuses and lower trading fees than most other platforms if you sign up specifically with my link down below. But you do need to do it sometime this week because things are changing soon, okay? So feel free to go check out that link down below. As I mentioned before, go follow me over on Instagram. And yeah, just be very careful right now. Market's in a bit of a weird place. We got a very big decision coming up next week. It's going to cause a lot of havoc in the market, a lot of chaos. So be careful, stick it out, be very cautious right now, and I'll keep updating you as everything plays out. I'll see you all later. Bye.